Wait, you guys haven't heard? It's the Very Real Fantasy Football Show!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Fantasy Football for Real. That's the name of the podcast. Eric Pettigo, that's me. I'm here with Big Dan Bott and Eric Kranz. Just three homies. Been homies since like the 90s, and we love fantasy football. And so we decided, let's get together and let's talk about a little bit of fantasy football. And, I don't really care about getting things right. I just want to entertain people while we talk about fantasy football. But we'll still try to get things right. Fellas, what's up?
Well, there are no such thing as a fantasy football professional. That's a very arrogant title to give
Agreed.
yourself. If someone pays you to be one, that's also pretty cool. But we're all fantasy enthusiasts with forecasting. That's all we do is just forecast.
I can see the future, you guys.
Oh, you're the one.
That's your one advantage.
I know it's going to happen.
You're
I don't
the
win
one.
fantasy football titles that often. That's just because I like my friends that are in the league and I let them win.
It's a slow play. What you're doing is knowing the future and not winning any titles. That's a very slow play.
Yes, that's what I go for.
So one of the reasons that I wanted to do this podcast, and the three of us have all done actual radio, and that's what we were doing before this. We were part of a show on a local AM station called Fantasy Football 101 that was on for a long time, Central Illinois. But we wanted to kind of transition over to the podcast world and have some fun doing this. But dude, I listen to a lot of fantasy podcasts. Do you guys?
I try not to because they all suck.
Okay. I mean, you said it. I was going to try to be a little more diplomatic about it.
Yeah,
and
I
just
could
be
see
like,
that. I could see that.
Yeah,
Why
Dan, raw dog Dan.
I could see why you'd want to maybe be more
Yeah.
diplomatic.
I don't think I'd hang out with any of these guys. They sound like dorks.
Okay, well, that wasn't very diplomatic either.
I can remember. Right, I know.
I like how they're trying to get information and eyes on fantasy,
Yes.
but I just feel like it's only guys who are willing to go get the equipment, not guys who should have the equipment.
Let me just,
I got the equipment.
Let me say this, because the three of us, we grew up together, and I think what separates us from anybody else in the industry is I can recall dozens and dozens of times the three of us being at social gatherings where there were girls present.
Yes.
And we talked to them and they talked to us.
Yes.
Yeah, they were there at their own will.
Yeah. So now that we've completely trashed everybody else in the fantasy football podcast industry, let's get into the show. You might notice, and you guys won't hear this because we're going to add it in post, the intro to the show has a different name than the podcast itself.
All right. All right. Well, getting the professionalism going right off the bat.
Let me explain this.
It should be easy to find us online and talk about us.
So this is part of a larger network of podcasts called Just a Bit. It's Just a Bit Productions. My brother Nick, our buddy Brad, you guys know we've got multiple podcasts all kind of falling under this umbrella. Nick and Brad play instruments. And so, I had him working on an intro for this. And up until late last night,
It was one
the
name.
name of this show was the Very Real Fantasy Football Show. And last night I'm in bed and I'm like, that's too much. That's too long. I don't like it. Well, I already had the intro in my inbox. Right?
I already had the neck tat.
Dude, yeah.
No going back now.
So
He called me. I got the neck tat. I'm like, well.
So I called Nick on the way here, and I'm like, yeah, man, so we're getting ready to go record this now. Also, I changed the name of the show. He's like, God, you're such a diva.
No regrets.
Nobody.
No regrets.
Nobody in the history of recording things likes that.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. It's fantasy football for real, and I like it. I think it's catchy. It's a little more.
I can't even remember the old one, but it wasn't bad. It did, it's like you said, it was a lot.
It was a lot.
But it didn't hurt me.
It was
didn't,
clever.
It felt like, hey, that one.
My wife liked it. She thought it was funny, but I'm like, it's a lot.
Just too much.
It's a lot.
Yeah, you had too many bells and whistles, like on a Bloody Mary. You see the tower of food in it. Like, nah, man, it's a drink.
It's too much to put on a trucker hat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Way too
Yes.
much to put on a trucker hat. So,
So now what are we again? What?
fantasy football for real.
Oh, for reals.
For real.
Okay.
I wanted to add real to fantasy. Get it? Like the okay.
No.
All right.
I
Well,
did-
we'll talk
but now
about
I
it.
do.
We'll talk about it after the show.
It was a
Yeah.
slow burner.
It's so funny that you didn't.
I got it. It
Yeah.
just.
But so
Sicker
our fantasy connection, we have been part of the same group of guys. It's like the same core six that have been playing. I think this is like our 19th season playing together. Right?
Dude, it's a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I want to say it was like 2005.
Yeah, I mean, we were playing fantasy
2006.
football. We're now at the point where the guys we were drafting 20 years ago, their kids are in the league.
Yes.
That's when you know
Yes.
you've crossed over into the old part of
I drafted
life.
Frank Gore as a rookie in the 3rd round in our first draft. Didn't really
Yikes.
know that much about him.
Yeah.
Now
Well,
his son's in the league.
I don't remember who drafted Marvin Harrison in our league, but obviously you guys have heard of his son.
Yes.
Yeah, Junior.
Yes.
Yep.
Good.
And I do know who drafted him. I did.
You did?
Yes.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
Full circle.
Yes.
And so our league went from the standard scoring. We talked about this a little bit before we turned the mics on and how that's a stupid way to play.
Yes.
You have to have PPR, and standard is like an incorrect
Yes.
thing to call it
It
because
used
it's
to
not
be.
the standard anymore.
No, it used to be the standard,
The standard
That's
is
all they
PPR
knew.
now.
but someone came along and said, "Do you guys like the balloons you have at this party, or would you like a few more?"
Right.
So we added more points.
Yeah.
It just made the party better.
Makes it more fun.
Less fun or more fun?
More fun.
Please.
That's my vote.
Yes.
My vote's more fun.
I mean, I feel like you can have it tasting great and less filling if you want to.
All right. I mean, we're looking for sponsors. So
Oh, yeah,
just
yeah,
throw
no,
that out there.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
We'll take that.
Yeah.
It's just more of a good thing. We all like points.
It makes more players more valuable.
Yeah.
To be able to put in there because some people just catch a lot of passes, but some guys are just a lot of touchdowns, yards. They don't,
Think about-
3 catches for a touchdown and 100 yards.
It doesn't ruin things either. People say it inflates the receivers. All right, we'll tell that to James 13 catch White out of the backfield or Austin 9 catch Eckler.
Yes.
You know, like
Oh man,
Yes.
I miss those days.
those are good days.
Give me a few of those games.
couple
this year.
scat backs. Can you say scat backs?
You can. I think.
It's pretty.
You, I don't. But
I walked
if,
the line right
If you
there.
switch the words, I don't think. You
Yeah,
can
you
say
can't do that. Wow.
That. I don't think you can say
Nothing
that.
like a little BS.
But so when we talk about players, our default will be PPR, right?
Yes,
and we'll acknowledge, hey, in a different format, different scoring format, I might
The
like this guy
only
better.
other format I will acknowledge ever is Superflex.
Okay, yeah,
That's
yeah.
it. Other than
Yeah.
that, you should know that if I'm talking about a dude, like you said, it's PPR. But if you need advice on standard scoring, look in the newspaper. Do something more geared towards your era.
Yep.
You know,
And we'll touch
send
on
a
it.
fax. Do something very old school. Don't you dare involve computers or technology or anything fun
Write
with
a
your
letter.
standard scoring.
Yeah. Put it in the mail.
Yeah. We have a P.O. box we'll be given to standard scoring people that need advice.
We do have an email address, but I need to change the name of it.
Okay.
Is it an AOL?
No.
Okay.
It's
See how old
it's
school
something
we are.
about very real fantasy, and it doesn't match the show anymore.
Man.
So I'm
now-
gonna
now
have to.
that's to change it.
That just occurred to me, like, oh, I can't give out the email address because I'm changing it.
Yes.
Yep, I'm changing it. And then so now the main league that we play in, we've converted into a full-on dynasty league. And
Yeah, that's a good format.
it's my absolute favorite.
Yes.
Are you guys like are you in agreement?
Well, it has to be because that's all. It's all I play.
Is it?
I'm down to 4 major leagues, and they're all dynasty.
So you're in. 4
I don't
leagues
believe in
this year,
putting it
and they're
back.
all dynasty.
I don't believe in putting it. Look how many tattoos I have. You think I don't
Got
play
a lot
for
of
reals?
tats.
Like I play permanent.
If it were up to you, we would have had the same name that we started with.
Maybe only because I have the neck tat. That's the only reason I wanted to stay with the other name. But that's why they make cover up tattoos.
So how many leagues are you in, and what? Are the 4?
3 dynasty leagues.
Okay, 3 in all dynasty.
Yep. And then I
So
do
we
a
don't like
lot of daily. I also that's sort of
Ah,
like
that's pretty fun,
That's sort
too.
of like my other.
That's better than redraft. I think.
of way in doing it for redraft is a lot of daily.
All right. I'm in 6 leagues.
Wow.
3 are dynasty. It's not a competition, guys. It's not a competition.
That's all right. I mean,
Yeah, because
okay.
it sounds like 3 of them are for like dorks, like what are they? Non-dynasty. Like, get out of here, nerd.
Like, I don't mind a redraft. I mean, my preferred dynasty. Those are my favorite league. Those are the ones that mean the most. to me.
redrafts are a lot of fun.
But
so.
redrafts are still fun, dude.
Until like week 8 and you're 1-7 and you're like, oh, this sucks.
That's the only thing that's really bad about it is also then if you play with people you know and that they'll be,
They'll honor the system
then
and
they'll
play
honor it. But
hard.
it's people if you don't, they just drop players, or I mean you have to have it where there's almost no trades because
Yeah.
then people just trade their 3 best players for 2 bad guys. You're like,
Or they
that's
won't switch guys on bye weeks once they're already beat,
because
so
they
other
just
teams-
quit
yeah.
and they're done. So
No.
those are things
Trash
where
format.
that's the better thing about Dynasty is that no matter what, you have something to play for of draft picks going in and going. You won't just give away guys because you need them next year and so on and so on. So
Yes.
Yep, I agree with all that. Nothing worse than being in a league where guys check out or girls. It's
Yes.
2024.
Yeah, guys or
Yes.
girls, whoever's
Yeah.
in your league.
people check out.
They check out, like they dropped some games. Now they're just done, and then it's just
Or they
oh,
got
man,
tired of it.
What are we doing?
I don't know. I'm trying it. I didn't really like it.
It's too much. It's every week.
But it also depends if you put a little. There's a little incentive in there. If you got a little money involved
Yeah.
into it, then people will pay more attention to it.
But if you're out of it, they still check out. They're like, I'm not going to win.
true,
I don't care if I got 50. I'm still losing 50 whether I give an H or not,
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm in a new league this year with some bros that I hoop with because y'all know I be hooping.
Yeah.
And
ACL.
yeah, and so they wanted to start a league. I'm like, all right, okay, and I'll do it. I'm only in 5. I got room.
I'm
for
only
one
in
more.
5. There you go.
I got room for one more, and they're like, let's just do it for fun. And and I chimed in. I was like, okay, couple of things. 1, no kickers, or I'm not playing. If you want me in this league, we don't have kickers. 2, it's got to be PPR. And 3, you know what's more fun than not playing for fun is playing for money.
You have
Yes.
to.
So if we're going to spend time, we're kicking in some money. Even if it's a little bit,
Maybe
we're
if it's
kicking in
$20
some
a
money.
person or
There's
something.
people
whatever,
who will be
something.
4-0 and stop looking at their team in a no money.
Right,
league.
yeah,
I've
man.
seen it.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah,
No.
it's like, oh, it's just for fun. Like, oh, that's not fun.
I only play high quality fantasy football.
Yeah.
I don't mess around with no regular H2O.
Oh, a little Happy Gilmore.
No, yeah. Well, no, H2O.
Yeah.
Grandma's boy.
There it is.
Wow.
Got it. Nailed it.
Yep.
Right there.
Knocked her out.
He's got it.
So nothing like a little procrastination, but it's Wednesday and the season starts tomorrow night. So I was like, fellas, we should probably get a podcast out, right?
Real.
Yeah.
Hey,
I mean, it's probably
everything
time.
in NFL is nothing until week 1. So, I mean, look there's people not even signed their contracts or reporting to camp.
Right.
No one. It's not ready yet. It's tomorrow.
I was going to say before I finish this podcast, I'd like to restructure my contract.
Okay.
Shouldn't take long.
I'm willing to pay you double what you're already making.
Done.
Dang.
Done.
Yep.
And
Welcome back.
and double that guaranteed signing bonus.
Every year it'll triple.
So you're going to be making exactly how many fantasy titles you have in our
Welcome
current
back.
league.
Wow. I do have fantasy titles.
You do, but they're ones that none of us care
They're
about.
dusty. They're just a little dusty right now.
And so then, obviously,
dated.
to get things going this year, I had to get the equipment. We had to find, you know what I mean? It took a while to get things going. I'm changing the name. But next season, we can start a month or 2 in advance and do like
Dude, earlier in that, dynasty specials all off season.
We can do 17 or 18 mock drafts per, like the other fantasy shows do
Yes.
on their episodes. Just, hey, you want to mail it in again today because we have an obligation to record? Let's do a mock draft.
Hey, and we got
Again.
someone on our show who's also hurt their shoulder, like Field Yates, who recently hurt his shoulder. Doing
didn't know that.
Yeah, they were doing something on ESPN where they were doing obstacle courses on the beach to determine the War Room League, and he tackled a tackling dummy and blew out his shoulder.
Somehow tackled something and flipped over on the beach.
Yeah, and
busted
his
out.
whole league with all his buddies, they all switched their name to things that revolve around that injury. It's pretty funny.
That is pretty funny. And it goes to show that a lot of us should just stick to talking about it.
Yeah. The physical things that people do for draft picks is not something I am interested in. I like the one I sent you guys, which was they had set up a 10-man league, and then they had 10 wrestlers do a Royal Rumble simulation on a video game.
Perfect.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You can like sit around, order a pizza, have a few beers, chill, and watch that to determine the draft order, and no one blows an ACL or a shoulder.
Saw that on the TikTok. Liked it.
Pretty good.
It was a big man Royal Rumble. It was all big men.
Oh, it's just big men?
On that one it was.
What's
Yeah.
cool about that is you can tailor that to, like I sent you guys an idea. We each create ourselves. We're all 99, but
I like
make
it.
your move set however you want, your look,
Yes.
and then we sit and we chill and we determine the draft order that way. That's
We should go the
awesome.
opposite way and all be like absolute minimum.
Just a
strength
bunch of
and ability.
47s. Just-
So it would really look like us out there.
oh
dude.
my goodness.
Put zero muscle definition.
So like realistic
just a bunch of
body
receding
types
hairlines
and
out there.
everything?
Yeah,
Oh.
dude. A bunch of hairy shoulders and just receding hairlines and
I don't know if they'll let my guy limp or not. I mean, he's gonna need, you know what I mean? Like just constantly
dude.
rotating his left shoulder. Like, oh,
just
man,
have
it
our
hurts.
wives outside of the ring yelling at us like, "Get out of there,
Honey, be
What are you doing?"
careful. Your left leg. No, we can't do
I
that.
need you to hang some pictures."
That's my one chance to maybe win a Royal Rumble with 2 solid knees, you know, a good ticker. I'm creating 99.
All right, you guys ready to get into these games and
Yeah, let's
talk
go.
about
Let's-
some
let's
fantasy
do it.
stuff?
Let's do some
Maybe we need
start.
to start a separate podcast where we just talk about whatever we want.
Just goofing.
Yeah. All right. So tomorrow night, Baltimore
Yikes.
Ravens go on the road to take on the Kansas City Chiefs, starting with a pretty good one.
Hate to see either one of these teams start 0-1.
Well,
I prefer to be the Chiefs.
I feel like it's
obviously.
gonna happen.
They've had enough fun, but think about it. Just an 0-1 Ravens or an 0-1 Chiefs team. That's just, you figure both this team's going to win week 1, but they face each other.
As of right now, the Chiefs, according to DraftKings, are a 3-point favorite at home.
Seems right. They're
All
home.
right.
They're the defending champs.
Over under 47.5 points. I mean, is this you plug everybody in this game? I've seen a lot of rankings that are like, these are two of the best defenses, so temper your expectations. And
I mean, you can't sit any of the primetime guys on either side.
No.
I mean, you can. All right, I'm in a situation.
okay, where do you draw the line then?
Like a Rashad Bateman.
oh, no.
You know what I mean?
No.
Like he's a post-type sleeper. He could come out and have 4 catches for a bill and a tutty,
First
and then
things first.
everyone rushes to the wire.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
he
First
doesn't
things
make
first.
the must start.
That'd be like the first time he ever did that. So I definitely wouldn't have him in my life.
Yeah.
No,
Make sure he's not in your starting lineup. And then after
Absolutely.
that, make sure he's not on your team.
Well,
Just
I'm
drop
going
him.
to tell you right now, if you're in as bad a situation as I am in our
no.
in our 10-man league, look.
Oh, you're,
And you're
taking a
he's-
good hard
you're
look.
rebuilding.
Look, here's the only defense I have of Bateman. He has first-round equity,
Okay.
okay? And that's all I can say.
Okay.
He has first-round equity. So the team is doing everything they can this year to see if he's got anything.
He's on the John Baldwin trajectory.
All right. Old Johnny B.
But that's for me like the only name I can think of on Baltimore that you don't start. You're starting Zay Flowers.
Yeah,
what
of
I mean?
cour's.
You're starting Andrews and stuff. So
Yep.
that's your
You're starting
line.
Lamar.
Same with over on the Chiefs. Your line's like Rice, and then anything below him, you're not starting on that wide receiver core.
Would you start Xavier Worthy?
Absolutely, you got to. He's their big over the top weapon, and you probably drafted him as a flex of some sort. I mean, you'd have to consider other things you have later in the week.
Yes.
But boy, you talk about a ticket that could pay off.
Yes.
Let's swing it back to Baltimore for 1 second. Derrick Henry, kind of a huge offseason acquisition, and I mean that literally,
yes.
Yes,
and
he's a giant man.
figuratively, yes. But compared to his performance in at least last season, I felt like he was kind of getting overdrafted.
For Tennessee last year, that's a fair assessment.
He's like 32 or something.
He's
now.
30.
30.
No.
Yeah.
He's 30.
I know you guys are right, and I'm wrong, but still, he's got so many miles. I felt like he was he was like running back one for a lot of teams.
Look, Dalvin Cook has the same amount of miles, and he's roasted taters.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry isn't like a Jetta pulling a boat to the lake, okay? He's a properly designed vehicle for pulling boats.
Okay.
So
You've never seen anybody like Derrick Henry as a running
Ever.
back, and he also works out nonstop.
30-year-old Derrick Henry's not a 30-year-old.
Takes care of his body, has so much wear and tear on him, but keeps on going. It hasn't really slowed down. And a horrible offensive line last year in Tennessee.
Horrible.
Horrible. no great quarterback, everything. He still was like the second in the league in rushing yards.
So Fantasy Pros has Derrick Henry in full point PPR ranked number 13, just behind James Cook and Alvin Kamara.
He's not going to catch a ton of balls, but that's not what he's ever done.
They have him ahead of Kenny Walker and Isaiah Pacheco.
And they should.
Yeah.
I like Pacheco more than Henry.
Well,
I don't.
I mean,
You look at it this way. This is where they go off of. They look at what the running backs did last year in Baltimore.
Okay.
Put up Gus Edwards, was in there putting up points.
anyone who touched the ball.
Dobbins was barely there. But
Mitchell.
they had if you combine those guys basically of who was starting out there, they're like a top 10 running back for Baltimore, and they're rushing. They're like, now you add Derrick Henry instead of the Gus Bus Edwards behind that offensive line with Lamar Jackson. And now he actually has a chance to win. It's a huge upgrade.
It's an upgrade. You're 100% right.
For Derrick Henry, and they're the number one rushing team in football. They're going to take away Lamar Jackson having to run him in as much around the goal line, and they're just going to be giving it to Derrick Henry.
I get what you're saying about his age and his wear and tear. He would not be an ideal signing for a younger team.
Agreed. And I feel the need now to apologize to both of you as well as any listeners at home or on the road. I mean, that's where people consume their podcast for spending this much time. You're starting Derrick Henry.
Yes.
This is my bad, guys.
Yeah, no, you're starting him. Yeah.
You're starting him. We do need to, I think the real guys we need to focus on here are guys where it's like, okay, do I get him in my flex or do I not? So we do need to, I mean, Zay Flowers, we start him,
He's
right?
a must start.
Yeah.
Fantasy Pros has him at 31. Like, let's say it's a flex and you're looking at Zay Flowers or a George Pickens who's on the road at Atlanta, who is ranked number 28 in PPR. Let's say you're deciding between those two. Where do you go?
I mean, this week, if you had to flip a coin, you got to say, okay, who's throwing who the ball? And I'm going to say that I trust Lamar Jackson, cutting out right and hitting Zay on a slant and him taking it to the house before I trust Russell Wilson going over 100 yards passing.
Fair. Concur?
Yeah.
All right. I agree, but not for the same reasons. Let me tell you why I agree. It's because it's Thursday night, and anybody on the fringe, my decision is being made by it's Thursday, and I want to see my guys on the field.
Yeah.
Zero analytics.
No, it's just
It's entertainment. It's part of
a fun
entertainment.
factor.
Like,
It's week one.
Yeah, let me get a taste of the Friday game too, kind of.
Let me just
yum, 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 yum.
Let me just mouth a little bit of that Friday game. Dude.
Let me get some of that Brazil nuts. Are they just nuts down there? Yeah, they're just nuts.
yeah, they're just.
Yeah.
I don't know where that's going, but
Brazil nuts are delicious, but
but right around there, go up a little bit. Rashee Rice is number 23. I mean, you got to get him in,
yes.
Right? And then so who brought up Xavier Worthy?
I did.
Okay,
that's the real
I bet
question.
he's
ranked in the 30s or 40s.
He's
40
he's
exactly,
more of the
yeah.
flex play is Xavier Worthy.
Yeah,
but you're playing the home run there. You're like, wow, the 4.1,
especially week one. No Hollywood Brown.
Yep.
He's out because he would have been playing that role more of Rashee Rice is more PPR guy. He's catching passes.
They have to rank Worthy in the 40s because he's a rookie.
Yeah.
They don't know. They don't know what he.
You can't come out and have any credibility and say Xavier Worthy's my number 15 receiver this week. Like, whoa.
Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, they're the two rookies that they're putting up high. Everybody else is going to be a little bit lower forecasted for week one.
So, I mean, pretty easy, right? It's Thursday Night Football, two awesome teams, two really tough defenses, but, man, a lot of players that could produce. And
a lot of fantasy foundational players, the Mark Andrews, both quarterbacks on both sides, Travis Kelce.
Mark Andrews, the top two tight ends.
These are guys taken
Yeah.
as primaries on their team and at their position.
Yeah.
So
there's no question those guys are in. And what we're saying is even those fringe guys, start them too. It's more fun.
I would at least keep – people are going to laugh at me, and I don't care because I've been laughed at my whole life. But keep a legit waiver wire eye on Bateman. I know you guys aren't sold on him, but seriously, the word out of camp is – and I know that a lot of dudes have a lot of words out of camp every year in gym shorts looking good. That arm of yours ready to throw for 3,000 yards? No. But I'm serious. Bateman could easily come out and have an effective game and show why he was taken first.
He has He has the opportunity. He hasn't done it yet. He's been injured. They talked about a couple years back how they needed receivers. He had a mouth about it that the coach and GM said that, and they're like, "Well, to get on the field and play and do something."
Yeah.
That's why we needed the draft.
It's
And we brought
definitely
in
a
OBJ.
make or break year.
So he has the opportunity. It depends if he does it, and if not week 1, but in the first 4 weeks is really whenever you see kind of what's going to shake out. Usually, if he doesn't do anything in the first few weeks.
There's been worse guys than Bateman who have won you a league by week 5 because you scooped him up and he didn't do anything. All of a sudden, back half of the year, shredding. I'm just saying.
Word out of camp.
I'll have a lot more hot takes.
Yeah, it hasn't been cut. So
I'll have a lot more hot takes this year, but my first one out of the gates, just keep an eye on Rashad Bateman.
Let's jump on to the next game. We've got the Green Bay Packers going on the road to take on the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles at home are a 2.5-point favorite.
Which it's not at home, but yeah.
It's not, is it?
No. It's in Brazil.
That's right.
They'll be the home team, but both teams are going to be running for their life before and after the game.
Friday.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Friday
They'll
night
be stretched out by the time they get there because they have to
Stretched out like how? Like on a stretcher from.
I guess I said that wrong. I guess they're ready. They've been running. They got their warm up ready.
This does not sound like a safe idea
in Brazil
so far.
Their nuts will be ready.
Yes, they will.
So for the Packers, let's start with the Packers because a lot of eyeballs on the Packers this year. A lot of fantasy dice rolls. Jordan Love, beginning of last season, was like, ugh, but then at the end was like, oh.
Now everyone's like, he's one of the faces of the league. Like he could win MVP this year. Like easy 9 games. Like I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, but I'm also as a fantasy
know that
guy,
it's Kool-Aid that I'm drinking
easy.
right now.
I want other people to quit drinking it.
Like if
like it.
anyone wants to trade me for Jordan Love for someone I value more, like a Joe Burrow, I'm on it.
Yeah.
But we don't know. Maybe this is the beginning of something great. It's not like Green Bay Packers have had like consecutive great quarterbacks. Oh, wait, Favre. And then they had Rodgers. And now if they hit gold with Love, oh, man, that'd be.
It looks like, it looks like they may have. He does look like the real deal.
He does.
They're paying him like they did.
And yeah, they are. And in redraft leagues, I can tell you that he's usually getting picked up as like one of the last starters or one of the first backups.
So like 10 through 11.
Yeah, exactly. So Fantasy Pros this week has him at number 9, just behind your boy Joe Burrow.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, if I could trade up, to get rid of, like, let's say Dynasty, I have Jordan Love. This might be the situation where you could get the most for him if he doesn't pan out. Right here, right now.
All the
if
hype.
you can trade up like the guys you're mentioning ahead of him, the 9, you do it.
Absolutely.
But by the end of the year, we could be like, dude, Jordan Love's an MVP candidate.
They have a really good running back. They just brought in Josh Jacobs. They have multiple wide receivers there, which obviously we're going to talk to, that are really good.
We're going to talk about. We won't talk to them.
Yes. Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Hey, guess who we have coming on?
Hey, stick around, Romeo
Dobbs.
But they, they're really, really good, really talented, really deep, young, growing with Jordan Love. So he has a really good opportunity there to continue to grow with those guys and get better. As we saw last year, they, once they started to gel a little bit, they look pretty good out there.
Yeah, it's good for a quarterback.
A couple of good young tight ends. So Jordan Love is in a great situation of how they've drafted and started to develop this.
So if you drafted Jordan Love to be your starter, let's say you waited, you drafted Jordan Love to be your starter, and then not too long after you drafted let's say Tua. All right, so you're looking at those two guys.
Those Tua guys.
This week you got Jordan Love in Brazil against Philly, or you've got Tua at home against Jacksonville.
I mean, Tua's going to wake up and eat his normal breakfast, right? Sleep in his bed, feeling good. Jordan, it's probably 9.5-hour flight.
Some sort of protein.
Could eat something, drink something that messes with his tum-tum.
Okay.
And now all of a sudden he's got, the poopy butts.
Hard-hitting analytics.
Hey, this is human side of the coin I'm giving you. You just think every one of your favorite fantasy players flies everywhere and just feels good?
Yeah.
I mean, a trip to Brazil gets you all shaking. You're scared about the crime outside they
Tua,
warned about.
having oats and a banana, he'll be ready.
He'll be ready, dude.
He'll be
playing against Jacksonville at home.
At home.
Driving his own whip to the stadium.
I would take – and he throws the guy named Tyreek Hill.
And
Yeah.
Waddle and
Jalen Waddle. Yeah.
You know,
The only
And
reason
some
that's-
pretty good backs
that's
also that catch balls.
That's a pretty good example, though, you brought up is Tua. Now I got questions, and it's only because the game's in Brazil. I'm seriously scared of that game. Travel does a lot to teams, man.
Well, let's say it then.
9.5-hour flight.
Let's say it's Love or Tua. Who you plugging in?
I'd plug in Tua.
I'm scared. I'll tell you, I'm thinking about playing Justin Herbert and Richardson in my super flex over Love because it's on a Friday night and it's in Brazil.
Fair enough.
I've never been a fan of the Thursday night games. Friday doesn't give me much better of a feeling.
Yeah.
I like my guys playing Sunday and Monday. And I don't like them playing.
Old school.
Yeah, and I don't like them playing outside of America. USA. I don't care where you play, but all week you've heard the discussion, and it's bothered me because I do have a lot riding on this game. I have a lot of Eagles, and I have a lot of Packers. I don't like when I hear players saying how scared they are to go. Their concerns for safety. I mean, all this plays into human mind. So, like, I don't know, man.
Once they get out there on the field, though,
Yeah, it's just football.
yes, it's just
Go
football.
watch a soccer match and tell me if it's just football. There's
That's
gonna be
just
stuff exploding.
football.
Well, that's a whole different story
Right.
down there.
It's the same country where they play it,
But
in the
they
same
care a lot
stadium
more
with the
about
same
that
people.
than they do American football.
Well, in Philadelphia,
Okay,
they're
so
used to getting batteries
look at
thrown
the-
at them and stuff.
hey,
So
look what they do to things they care about.
Jars
They
of
throw it
pee.
at their favorite soccer
Yeah.
player. You think they care about my fantasy quarterback? I just think that is a concern. If you're on the fence, you got two equally good fantasy guys. You got to start breaking it down into these little things that you don't think about, man. Travel is definitely something. 9.5-hour flight plays into it.
And usually where it comes down to is what you said about Thursday or Friday is
piss jars.
I want to be able to watch it.
Oh, okay.
My entertainment value.
Yeah, man.
Entertainment value.
Friday,
like
there's
that's
football.
that's
Yeah.
my coin flip. Which one is an afternoon or a morning game? Which one do I get to watch?
Yeah, well, when they all have Montezuma's Revenge and it's a 10-7 game, you can thank me later, okay?
Okay.
Is that a dated?
I love it though, dude. Montezuma. So what? Let's do this. Let's project this season out. Which Green Bay Packer receiver emerges this season as the receiver?
I don't know if there will be one that is just the receiver.
Somebody has to be
No,
number one.
no,
There's gonna
don't.
be
They're not all
at
gonna
the
tie.
End of the year,
No, not
someone's gonna have the
not that
most.
they're gonna. Christian Watson is probably their most talented one.
Who has the most fantasy points?
But he's gonna get injured.
Yes,
He's
his
dancing.
hamstring has something
Dan,
to say.
he's dancing around the question.
He is.
He's
That's why I
dancing.
made him go first. I like it. How he
Like
shimmies.
At the end of the year, theoretically, that they all stayed healthy, I think it'd be Christian Watson. But he won't because he just hasn't.
You don't put that out there. I need him.
Yeah, well, sorry, it's
Okay.
not going to happen. But I think it's going to change from week to week. That's the beauty of where Jordan Love has that, where he has multiple guys to throw to. You're like, oh, he's a number one guy. He just throws it to him all the time.
under
No,
the
it's
radar.
multiple weapons that he throws to. It'll change from week to week.
So that means
And that's what it was last year.
that none of the to me that's just
Everyone
a
thinks
whole
they
wide
have the
receiver
guy.
core that I don't want.
That's the scary part about it is which one
Take
will be
one
the
of them,
one.
and you might get a lottery ticket.
All right.
Yeah, because Reed had what 13
Jalen
touchdowns
Reed.
last
No one
year.
talks about Jalen Reed. He's fire.
They should.
He was a second round pick last year.
And my pick is Wicks.
It's Jaden. I think it's Jaden. They
Did I? What I say?
you said
Jalen?
Jalen, and there's too many.
Yeah,
There's
I try to keep up everyone's name.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you right now.
I got a computer. I
got,
cheated.
I got Wicks.
Okay,
That's
Dontavian.
my guy. This year in the Green Bay thing, I think he's a light version of Devontae Adams.
Okay, and you
and
could
then
very
they have
well be right.
Dobbs.
He's the safe play to be the number one.
And then a few guys were down last year, and this 7th round rookie or undrafted Bo Melton came
Yeah,
out
Bo
there
Melton.
and performed.
Look, the Packers' only
Stop it.
problem this year
We're not
is
talking about Bo.
is making the playbook work in their advantage because they have all the necessary tools. Like you said, they have the 2 tight ends that rock.
Yes.
Those young guys are good.
Yes.
Kraft and Musgrave. Mm-hmm. I mean, Jordan Love himself as a fantasy QB, excuse me, has all the tools you want, including now Josh Jacobs. So we could flip over
Well,
to Eagles.
but we do need to mention the huge offseason acquisition of Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
This
Yes.
year we haven't even mentioned.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's starting. He's in your lineup, so we don't need to spend a lot of time on him. Right? So, yeah, let's shift over to the Eagles then. Another huge offseason acquisition, Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, that's big.
That's crazy,
That's
right?
an entire franchise of an offense just put on a team that already has an offense.
Yeah. And so the big question, it's not just because I have Jalen Hurts in our main league, but so much of his fantasy value was him just, the tush push, the brotherly shove into the end zone. How many of those now get handed off to Saquon Barkley to punch in because it's Saquon Barkley and he's real good.
And Kelsey retired, who's a center and who's the main one.
He's always on the bottom of that pile.
Yes, the main one there. They drafted his replacement a couple years ago, like getting him ready, knowing it was going to happen. Played guard. Now he's switching over to center. But no, I have Hurts, AJ Brown, and Saquon Barkley in a league.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of Eagles.
Well, I've been trying to get Barkley off you. I can relieve you of that problem.
Well, just hasn't quite been what the price is. What I wanted to sell for.
You're a little bit frugal, my friend.
I'm very frugal.
I'm right here writing fantasy checks. If you've ever played in a league with me, I'll open that pocketbook up and throw. I will mortgage the future.
But that's one where yes, there's going to be less from Jalen Hurts from that.
Right.
And it should be. That's why you paid Saquon Barkley. Hurts, you need him to be able to be throwing on there. Is he still going to run some in? Absolutely. Of course. He had
because it's an advantageous play. They're not going to
just get rid of it. They had like 15 touchdowns last year.
It's a layup, man. It's an open layup.
He's probably going to get
on the goal line
10.
So
he's probably going to lose 5 of those short yardage rushing touchdowns to Saquon Barkley.
Picture this. Remember Christian McCaffrey on the Panthers? Still a pretty good fantasy option.
Yeah, he was.
Then he joined the Niners, and you're like, oh, that's probably mine. And he had the same amount of injuries as Saquon, Christian McCaffrey I'm talking about. You could probably expect the same type of season out of Saquon as you did Christian's first year in 49ers uniform.
Wow. I think Saquon's going to have a huge... He's finally is literally going to a good team. Look at the Giants and their offensive line before, and Daniel Jones, and who else?
Put 8 in the box.
All Saquon. That was it.
Put 8 in the box to stop Saquon and see what their receivers do to you.
Yes.
And... Well, yeah, and they've got the receivers. Obviously, those guys.
The receivers, the quarterback, the offensive line, everything is better.
Pretty sure that's 3 first-round picks they have at all 3 wide receiver positions. So
yeah, because they just brought in
Jahan Dotson.
Jahan Dotson from Washington. So
and a pretty good tight end, Dallas Goedert.
Yeah, so that Philadelphia offense is going to be potent this year, and the way they just kind of.
That's why I said this matchup's going to be 10-7.
Yeah, they kind of sputtered out at the end of last year, and all it were so bad after such a hot start. But new offense now, some new pieces for Jalen Hurts, and
and that'll be it. A different offensive coordinator now. Also,
I mean, you start everybody right up until obviously Jahan Dotson. I don't think you plug him in just yet.
He is. Definitely,
hold on to him.
He's definitely a few tiers ahead of my Rashad Bateman hang on and play.
Oh, God, yeah.
But he is definitely right at the line on Philadelphia. And by the line, I mean guys that you just were. Let's wait and see how he does in this offense.
He's a hold.
He's not a start,
but a hold.
So we are about 40 minutes in, and we're just getting to our first Sunday game. So let's fire through these.
Go ahead. You're the host. You speed.
I know.
Tell us what you want.
I am. Hey.
Sorry. A little bit too much coffee. Bevy.
It's exciting. It's our first show. That's
first
water.
Show.
It's water. That's what they all say.
It's a little water. It's mostly water. Tennessee Titans on the road to take on Eric Kranz's Chicago Bears.
Ooh.
How exciting is this?
Oh,
Caleb Williams.
Oh, buddy.
Do you trade the number 1 pick? Do you build around Justin Fields? Blur, 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 blur. Do you just get rid of him, get yourself some Caleb Williams, and then bring in the best offensive weapons the Chicago Bears have ever had?
Yeah, absolutely. So excited about it. For Fields, like I said, I really like Fields. I hoped it would have worked out, but he just can't hit the passes, and it just isn't there, and you're not going to pay this guy for the future when you can get Caleb Williams.
Dude was a pocket passer at Ohio State. A good one. Yeah. And then he got to the NFL and he's like, whoa, I forgot how to pass.
Yes. So weird,
but I can run.
It was so
and
weird.
He never ran at Ohio State.
When he started.
Didn't even know he was fast. I'm like.
So when we lost and we didn't win a national title with him, I'm like, so this whole time you could run.
Like
this
really
whole,
good.
like
really
whole
fast.
ass Mike Vick run.
Yes. And he never
nothing
did it.
Pissed me
Yes.
off more.
So, anyhow, so Justin Fields is in Pittsburgh, but
Yes.
Yeah, he's a non-starter.
but
Caleb Williams is in Chicago.
Caleb Williams,
Hey, ring him up.
are you starting him right now?
You are if you have him.
Yeah, ring him up.
Do you have him? Did you get your hands on some Caleb Williams?
I got him. I got him in the league.
He's got him in
Yeah.
our super
All right.
flex.
I got him starting.
Okay.
I got him starting. But
Well, in
I-
a super
I
flex,
got-
it's
yes,
a no-brainer,
yes,
right?
Yes. But also it's because it's Caleb Williams.
In
so
a
I'm putting him
regular
there.
flex league,
but
in regular
but just
flex,
a single quarterback.
single flex.
No, week one. You probably didn't draft him to be your starter.
No.
You would have drafted Tua and Jordan Love probably
I
just
would
for
have
this year.
just for balls, like taking a bunch of good running backs and wideouts and stuff, and be like, I'm going to swing back around and Caleb Williams the hell out of this draft.
He could very well end up your starter if you did not make
absolutely.
him your starter.
Absolutely. I mean, he has so many weapons. Is also what it is to throw to, and he's got a new running back in Swift.
Yep. Yeah, let's talk about those weapons then. Who are you plugging in this week? I mean, I like Swift. And in the redrafts I was in, I think I snagged him up to be my flex in like a couple of them because I feel like he's going a bit underdrafted. And I don't know if it was just that one play in the preseason where Caleb Williams dumped it off to him and he just took off down the field. And I'm like, oh, that could happen a lot.
Oh yeah.
That could happen a whole lot. You know, it's
Yeah.
a quarterback's best friend is a little bailout pass to a really quick running
Yes.
back.
Week one, though, I am tempering. I want to see what he does in this offense. And the only way you must start him is in like a 12-man, 2 running back league where you have, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Deep league.
He's flex.
But you're starting DJ Moore.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Keenan Allen is as long as whatever is little
Flex.
dinged up.
He can be a flex. I'm
Most
fine.
people
Yeah.
are starting Rome
You're
Odunze in
you're
Dynasty.
starting him.
They're desperate. They got him high in the...
Rome would be one, but normal. You didn't draft Rome to be a
No,
flex.
not in a redraft, but
You,
like
you just
in
didn't
Dynasty.
yet. But hopefully you got him on your team because he could end up being the number 2 on this offense by the end of the year.
The only guy we have locked into an actual roster spot that doesn't say flex by it is DJ Moore.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say Keenan Allen too.
Okay.
He's a veteran,
A wide receiver,
very
too?
savvy rookie guy.
Yeah,
You know
it'd be
that Keenan
hard-
Allen's
it'd be-
going to be in a spot.
it'd
He
be
knows
hard to
what
sit Keenan Allen.
you can't sit Keenan Allen. I mean, from what he did last year,
I mean, all he does is take 2 steps and slant. I mean,
Yeah.
that's an easy...
and just get open. He just gets open and
That's what
catches
I do
the
in Madden
ball.
when I suck.
I said this so much last season talking about the Carolina Panthers and Bryce Young and Adam Thielen was a young quarterback's best friend is a veteran wide receiver who knows how to get open
And knows where to be.
and then can
And
go
doesn't run far.
right and then
Yes.
can go and talk to them and say, hey, watch for this, watch for if your first read isn't there, I'm going to be right here and I'm going to be open. And then
Yes.
like I could see Keenan Allen just
And that's
catching 7
he's
or
going
8
to be
balls.
he's going to
Yeah.
be the safety one. DJ Moore is going
7
to
or
be
8
running
balls for
you know.
55 yards, but in
With
PPR, that's double
all-
digits, baby.
Yes.
All that talk you guys just gave me, that makes me feel like I probably should leave Cole Kmet on my bench.
Well, I was getting ready to bring up Cole Kmet. I feel like he's fallen all the way off the radar, and I don't know that that's completely fair.
I don't know if it's fair, but they brought in Gerald Everett, so he's also another pretty good
Yeah.
tight end. Komet should still be there. I don't know if you're putting him as a top 10 tight end this
No.
year.
Damn it, do I have to say that he's a better football player than a fantasy football player? Is that where we're at with Cole
guess.
Kmet?
We don't know yet, but that's with Keenan Allen involved is the reason why, because there's so many weapons there. He was the number 2 option last year.
And I've been hearing Gerald Everett's a good player for years, but I'm trying to remember the last time I saw that
Or
happen.
started him.
Last
Right.
year, he was pretty decent for the Chargers.
Yeah, right? Sure. Oh, yeah. Pretty decent.
Pretty well. He's not a superstar,
Yeah,
but I mean,
that
but
truck
it-
stop I stopped at had a decent bathroom. You know what I
I
mean?
had a decent slice of pizza.
By
Oh.
decent, I mean
I got myself a Gerald Everett with pepperoni.
truck stop pizza and Gerald Everett. He is gonna
Old
maul
truck
us.
stop.
Gerald didn't do anything to you
Old
guys.
truck
at
stop
all.
pizza.
Truck stop
TSP.
pizza.
All right, Tennessee Titans. They don't have they don't have Derrick Henry. They
They don't, but they got some other intriguing stuff a little bit.
yeah. Who do they have? Who's
All right,
on the
Will
Titans?
Levis.
Will Levis.
They got DeAndre Hopkins on his last leg.
Oh,
he's
God,
hopping
he's
on.
limping
They
out
got the ghost of Calvin Ridley.
Oh, Calvin Ridley. That's who they have.
And they got one more. They got
Tyler Boyd. That goes to Tyler Boyd.
And they
Stop
got
it. What are we doing?
They got Treylon Burks, don't they?
He's on the team.
Yeah, that's how
That's
the
about
mighty
it.
have fallen.
He hasn't been cut.
Tony Pollard.
T-Peasy.
And
And they got Tajay Spears.
Tajay Spears.
Who actually looks fast and shifty.
Yeah.
yeah.
But he's in a timeshare.
Is there anybody on there that I'm confident week 1 in a starting lineup?
Here's a sleeper for this
No.
week, and I wouldn't start him. Ty Boyd has had reported chemistry with Will Levis in camp.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, guys.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
No.
It's reported chemistry. I mean, come on.
we can move on.
That's
Let's
as good
see.
as a UFO sighting.
If there's one that I'm throwing out there, it'd probably be Ridley because they paid him a lot of money. Levis has got a good arm. He's going to try
And
to
he's a
throw to the
pretty good
weapon.
receiver.
They're going to try to highlight the new weapon.
I wouldn't start
Bears are a
either.
4-point favorite at home. I
I think Bears are going to win by more than 4.
Yeah, and I Calvin Ridley, I got burned on in too many leagues last season. I want nothing to do with him this year.
I don't blame you. That was a disaster for Jackson.
Yeah, and I've heard Jacksonville didn't use him right. They didn't throw him the ball. It was his first year back. Now
Probably
he's
not. I mean,
yeah.
they hired Urban Meyer.
I was watching the games like, can you please throw this guy the football? Remember, he's awesome. It's Calvin Ridley, and maybe this year will be different.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know
but
they're paying a lot of money
Right.
that it would be.
Week 1, I'm not starting anybody. I know that
This
much.
time last year, I felt bad because you were swimming. You're like, dude, Calvin Ridley
I
and
got
Trevor
him.
Lawrence for years to come. Bing, bong, boom.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Championship. Nope. All right. The New England Patriots at Big Dan, Cincinnati
Who dey?
Bengals. Bengals at home are an 8-point favorite.
Start every Bengals player you got.
Yep.
And don't start one freaking Patriot.
Patriot,
Ramondre Stevenson.
Stevenson,
No.
and that's it. And then we can move on away from them.
In a two-man, when you have to start 2 running backs, I am not.
Dan, you're talking about Rashad Bateman over there, all right? So you just stop whenever we say Stevenson.
Not a must start. Okay?
Ramondre Stevenson is literally the only guy.
Only one you'd consider.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The rest you're waiting to see if some of those rookie wideouts pan
Yeah,
out.
you
If
gotta
the-
see
if
what
the
happens.
quarterback situation pans out. Hunter Henry's under the wire, but you're not starting him.
Yeah, we've said too much.
Yeah.
Ramondre Stevenson is number 20 on Fantasy Pros. That's fair. That means he's an RB2 or a
That's
flex.
a bit pricey for me.
Bengals, though, you have obviously Burrow.
Yeah.
Starting.
You obviously right
They're-
now are going to start T. Higgins.
Their number 1
because
receiver, T. Higgins.
He's
And Jamar
actually been out there
Chase, he's
doing
fine.
it right now. As long as Jamar,
Just
I heard he
glaze over what
practiced
you're
today.
about to say.
I heard he practiced today, so his
Okay.
first practice
That's
all
a
off
better
season.
attitude. Don't you dare
and-
say anything else.
And we don't know for sure who the starting running back is, but it looks like it's going to be Zach Moss to start it off. Chase Brown's going to be returning kicks.
Yeah.
I
and then
heard
Chase Brown
that
will take
Chase
his
Brown absolutely worked Moss in training camp. So
That'll be Chase. That's
I'm just telling you, worked him.
Chase Brown is the guy to own moving forward. Even if it's week
Zach
1.
Moss is going to just hurt you.
Week 1, I don't want to start either one of them.
No.
I'm starting Chase Brown week 1. Baby.
Okay. All right. Yeah, and I think if I had to pick one,
Is that
He's
with
playing-
with Rashad Bateman?
That's If Bateman's hurt, then I'm putting in Brown. If I even see a limp in warm-ups from Bateman. So my opinion on Brown is less is more this week. I think if he gets 10 touches, one of them he's going to take to the house.
And
He's
he can
that
carry the
explosive.
rock. He was an Illinois running back. He
was a
carried it
bell cow.
30 times. I mean, he can carry the load.
Joe Burrow to me this season was a guy who was going maybe 7, 8 as far as QBs go. And I know it's because last year he had some injury issues, but I mean, this is Joe Burrow. This guy,
QB1 easily.
Going into last season, I had it QB1.
He could be, that's what I mean, not like is for sure, but like could easily
Yeah.
be QB1 this year.
Because he was dinged up last year, everybody thinks now all of a sudden they'd rather have C.J. Stroud because C.J. Stroud is a shiny new object and had a great rookie season.
Yep. He
But
could
give
easily
me
take a
Joe
step
Burrow
back.
10 times out of 10.
Love it.
I think
take.
to be if he's healthy, I think he's top 5 QB.
He's top 5. He just doesn't run. And that's where a lot
Doesn't
of the
need to.
But that's where a lot of the
He-
Josh Allen and
he-
Jalen Hurts where they
Now,
are
he
1
doesn't
and 2.
run per se like a rushing, but when Joe scrambles, he jukes dudes.
Oh, yeah.
He's got legs.
He runs with purpose.
Yeah.
And so maybe CJ Stroud isn't the greatest example, but I've got a better one who is going ahead of Joe Burrow in almost every league. You guys can probably guess. One guess. I'll give you one.
Lamar Jackson?
No, he deserves to go ahead. Go ahead, Eric Krantz. One guess.
Me?
Yeah.
Not sure exactly.
All
right,
that's
Dak Prescott.
That's a bad guess. No, God, no. Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson is getting drafted like he's already a top 5 QB. And, like, he didn't even play 5 games, did he? So I don't understand the hype over Anthony Richardson. I think he could be good.
I'll give you a name. It's not even a football name. Zion Williamson.
Okay. Well,
Remember that feeling of, well, dude, I'm going to take him. If he plays, he's going to do this.
Yeah.
Same thing with Richardson. People are thinking, look at that athleticism. If he plays, I'll blank, blank, blank. Well, you might be putting blanks down for about 8 games this season after he gets his knee blown out.
It's because he runs. If you go and if you look where a lot of these quarterbacks are getting their points from, it's, the top one is Josh Allen. He runs in touchdowns. Jalen Hurts, he runs in touchdowns. What does Anthony Richardson do? He can throw it. He can run. So they're drafting for their hope of what he can do without being proven.
Yes, because running is a valuable tool. Because Daniel Jones 2 years ago finished QB9
because he ran
the shit out of the ball, and I mean nonstop. He also tripped. Do you guys remember that run? Oh, I'd love to see that highlight. He's wide open, gone, and trips on like the 20-yard line, just falls.
But that's where a lot of those guys. What they're doing is just because the quarterback is a dual threat and he can run and you can get so much more fantasy points when they're dual threats.
I've always been though a guy like I need to see it before I go drafting him ahead of a guy like Joe Burrow who's already shown it to me.
Yes,
that's a redraft talk though. For like if you're in Dynasty,
he's already shown it. To me.
You're definitely taking a guy like Richardson because you're like, I'll ride this out for 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
But in redraft, where you got one shot this year, you're taking a Joe Burrow over Anthony Richardson. I don't care how big his upside is, how many yards he can run for, because he's opening himself up for more hits than he needs to.
All right, yes. Cardinals and Bills. Bills at home are a 6.5-point favorite. That's a pretty big number for a team with no wide receivers.
And a lot of other guys just gone that they had to get rid of defensive-wise.
Yeah. Kyler Murray, back on people's radar. I think people are really excited that he has Marvin Harrison Jr. to throw the ball to.
And Trey McBride.
Who's excellent. So
I'd be excited about Nathaniel Peterman if I had Marvin Harrison Jr. You know what I mean?
Old Nate Pete. Yep.
It's considered the worst quarterback in the history of professional football, I think.
But I'm like, to me, Marvin Harrison Jr. is, I always want to see it with rookies first, but week 1, I'm like, get him out there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Get him and Neighbors are probably the only ones right now I can shoot from the hip and say, rookie, start, bam, go.
I'm with you.
Just off the top of my head.
I'm with you.
I'll trade you. You want to trade Marvin Harrison?
No, I have him, and he's in my starting lineup. So is Malik Neighbors because I did a little rebuild action. I had the 1 and 2. It was great.
He's got barely
Love
old
Dynasty.
enough to drinking team right now.
No
Just
joke.
Puppies.
Oh, man, you wait until 2028. So for the Cardinals, obviously Kyler, Marvin Harrison, Trey McBride,
James Conner.
James Conner.
I don't trust James Conner this season.
But if you can flex him, he's a
I mean,
running
you
back.
can, but I'm not going to trust him.
Okay.
As long as he's healthy.
I don't trust him.
I don't trust him.
I think he's got to be in your lineup. As long as he's healthy.
Yeah, he's a good
Has
flex.
to be. He's a workhorse.
He's a running
one
back.
of the few workhorse running backs. But he'll get injured because he always does.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
why he's
And
healthy.
Trey Benson, they didn't just draft him to have him sit there and watch the ghost of James Conner shimmy down the sideline.
I think they drafted Trey Benson for later in the year when Conner gets injured. Also for next year. Because Conner's the last year of his deal.
I agree.
James Conner feels way safer on a 12-man, 2 running back situation, okay?
Josh Allen loses his top target, Stephon Diggs.
I don't think we'll see too much of a drop-off from Josh Allen. He's still going to throw for 340, 2-3 tutties, scramble around. I just think the consistency of which he gets the big games won't be there, like the 500 yards and the stuff Stephon Diggs brought to it. Who knows? Maybe Shakir, is that who it is?
Yep.
And Keon Coleman.
Keon Coleman, rookie Keon Coleman.
We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I'll tell you what, hot take here. I think that Dalton Kincaid has the potential to finish this season as the number 1 overall tight end in fantasy.
that's a very sensible take.
I mean, nobody's saying it. He wasn't getting drafted like he could have been.
No, but it's
no
like,
offense, but
why not?
Dalton Kincaid just doesn't have the swag behind him yet. You
who's
know?
he dating?
Hey, you guys want to talk about Dalton Kincaid real quick?
He's not dating Taylor
Like, hey,
Swift.
get out of here, nerd.
Yeah.
But
Like,
who was Sam Laporta last year?
Oh,
yeah,
A rookie, the number one tight end.
Yeah, take it easy on overdrafting Sam Laporta. He's going to break your heart this year.
But
you know.
James Cook, I mean, we like James Cook.
He's a solid
I'd
top
start James
15.
Cook.
Right. Yeah,
You know,
James
He's
Cook
almost
we like.
forgotten in that offense. I don't
It's
know
weird,
how.
right?
Yeah.
I almost went to the next game
Stephon
without
Diggs,
mentioning him.
Yeah, Stephon Diggs left, and they're like, well, there you go.
Yeah, but James Cook, legit. Yeah, he's out there. All
He's
right.
the Cook you want.
Texans at the Colts. We just talked about Anthony Richardson a little bit. Not saying don't start him. I'm saying it was weird to see how high he was drafted.
Yeah.
I still like him. I'd still
He's
plug
the
him in.
darling. He's the hype horse this year. I mean, everyone's on it, dude.
Texans are a 3-point favorite on the road at the Colts. I mean, the Texans are kind of loaded up, man.
They're loaded.
They're
You're starting your
loaded.
Texans.
Offense, defense, they're good.
They bring in Joe Mixon. I think that's a good fit. I think he's going to have
Temper
a really nice
the
season.
Dalton Schultz expectations from game to game because
Sure.
of the mouths to feed. But he's phenomenal, and so are the three wideouts and the running backs. So
Yeah, start them all. I'm with it.
Yeah.
I'm 100% with it.
Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, all can have the number one wide receiver numbers, but CJ Stroud's going to throw enough to support three wide receivers in this offense this year.
Yeah.
There's about 10 teams in the league that can do that, and this is one of those teams.
Yes.
Agreed. As far as the Colts are concerned.
Also, Joe Mixon.
Yeah, no, it's yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
He mixed that in there.
Yeah, we brought that
He
up.
mixing that in there.
Yeah.
He mixed that in there.
Hey-o. Colts have an interesting team too. I mean, obviously you have Jonathan Taylor, who is top three running back
Yeah,
in the league.
yeah, potential, sure.
From year to year, if he's not hurt, he's proven that he is. You want him in your
Yes.
lineup.
Yep.
Richardson, we've talked about his sky high potential, and then the receivers. It's getting weird because it was like Pittman and no one. Now it's like Josh Downs is coming into his own. They
Yeah,
said.
you've been hearing his
And
name a lot
A.D.
lately.
Mitchell.
Yep.
But for week one,
I wouldn't start any of those guys but Pittman.
it ends at Pittman.
Yeah.
And Pittman's
You
probably a
can't-
flex.
Yeah. And Pittman's not like, hopefully he's not your wide receiver one.
No. Nope. All right. I like it. No, nice work, fellas. Efficient. Good efficiency. The Jaguars, 3.5-point dogs on the road at the Miami Dolphins. We mentioned this game a little bit earlier. I felt like, in a general sense, Tua, who I think led the league in passing yards last year, if I'm remembering correctly, was being drafted in redraft leagues as like the QB 13 or 14.
Way too low.
He's got two of the best targets in the league. He's one of the most accurate passers in the
I
league.
would just, if I'm redrafting, I would have just stocked up on everything and seen Tua there in round 10 and been like,
I took him as my backup in like every redraft league because nobody was even paying it. I'm like, you guys forget? Not only does he
did
have
last year.
two of the best receivers, but he's got Devon Achane and Raheem Mostert, who are lightning fast and can catch the ball out of the
Yes.
backfield and take that. And guess what? Tua gets those points too. Don't forget that Tua is a very, very good fantasy option.
Somebody who I think is a little sleeper is an old guy, tight end, 28 years old. He's got to sign a 2-year deal with
So
the Dolphins.
compared to us.
Jonnu Smith.
Oh, old Jonnu.
Like
don't have anyone else.
he's fast. He has the opportunity. There's times where he outshined and was used more than Kyle Pitts was in Atlanta, so they signed him in Miami. I don't know because they haven't used a tight end as often, so I'm curious. But
If you had to
He-
compare
he-
Jonnu Smith to a gas station culinary treat,
I mean,
Or
he'd be like a new, fresher hot dog on the rollers.
okay.
Like not
All
an
right.
old one that's been
Like
there,
you're
but
still
it's a little
gonna
bit
get
I mean, it's
some-
not brand new,
some
but
water
it
out your
still looks
butt.
good. It still looks
but
good.
just no throwing up, right?
Yeah, it's not like old, dried up, and crusty. I mean, it's still there. It still looks pretty good. You're like,
I
I'll
always,
eat
you
it.
know what I do? I always go over to the nacho machine and I squirt a little cheese on my Jonnu Smith.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
There you go.
A little nacho cheese up on that Jonnu.
Yeah, that
All
sounds
right.
too risky for me.
Ah,
but-
oh.
Ska-da-da.
All
Yeah,
right.
you're starting all your Dolphins. You can even probably start Mostert and Achane.
Of course, you
Yeah.
should start Mostert and Achane. I mean, if you have them both on the same team, which you can go for a handcuff role. I mean, when they're both healthy,
I do think Achane is being overdrafted,
definitely.
Yes.
but that's neither here nor there. You're taking a chance on his upside, just like Gibbs.
And
He doesn't need as many touches in that offense as Mostert does.
this is a point I made. I do another fantasy podcast with Bonzi, our the homeboy Bonzi, and we brought this up. This very same thing with Devon Achane, because he's like, "Don't you think he's going overdrafted?" Something, and I said, "I mean, yes and no, right? He's he's not being drafted as the number one running back, but he has the potential and the ability, if he stays healthy, to be the number one running back.
Yes.
Right? Like, that dude is a freak athlete. When he touches the ball, he's always a threat to score. He's like Tyreek Hill as a running back. But he's got to stay healthy. So being drafted as like the number 11 or 12 running back, I don't know is necessarily overdrafting him. But the potential of only playing like 8 games exists, and that's the scary part.
Yeah.
So,
and guys that fast can hurt themselves from being so fast.
yeah.
They're just like, my hamstring.
So fast.
I'm so fast.
Yes.
To my own detriment, I'm so fast. All right, Steelers on the road against the Falcons. Falcons are a 3.5-point favorite at home. So the Steelers have named Russell Wilson their starting QB and named him a captain.
They might only need 3.5 points to beat this Steelers team.
I think the Steelers will be okay this season. I like George Pickens a lot.
I love George Pickens.
Mm-hmm.
I love both their running backs.
I'm okay with both the running backs.
I love Mike Tomlin.
And
I hate the Steelers because I'm a Bengals fan, and I love Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
Respect the heck out of the man.
Yeah.
But boy, Russ gives me the heebie-jeebies.
I'm starting
is
Pickens. I'll start either running back. I don't want anything else right now.
Russ is going to get sacked 9 times in this game.
I'm
Because he holds the ball.
going to start Najee first, as I have both of them, because Jalen
Yep.
Warren's coming back from a hamstring, and I'm curious to see what happens. And for people who have that whole tandem, watch out for old man
you're gonna
Cordero
say it.
Patterson.
No, stop it.
I'm just
Don't
saying.
watch out. Don't watch
It's
out.
Arthur Smith. It's
Arthur
Cordero Patterson.
Yes. That's his
Anything can
muse.
happen. It's Arthur Smith. Okay, he had Bijan last year,
And he's still
and he didn't
Cordero.
use him constantly. And you had Bijan. I mean, it's Arthur Smith. All right,
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of him. Hopefully, I am
What
again
about
as an
Patty
offensive coordinator.
Freiermuth? Is he going to ruin him even more than Pitts or what?
Freiermuth is a guy when they waited on tight end, they ended up taking Freiermuth.
As a flyer way down the line.
I love him as a talent. I'm just telling you, I hate the fact that Russell Wilson is the quarterback.
He's that pork tenderloin at Casey's that you scoop up at 3:30, but it got put on the rack at
Man,
11:30.
you're hungry, fatty. You want only food analogy.
I just like
got him.
this. I like this bit of comparing tight ends to food.
Yeah,
at the
I don't
gas
blame
station.
you.
Yeah.
Bringing it. You're the glue guy,
I wonder
dude.
what's for
Bringing it-
dinner
Yeah,
tonight.
well, probably a
Talk to my
crusty
wife.
pork tea for you, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Look,
I'm gonna call Amanda and be like, honey, I'm gonna pick up a couple of Freiermuths on the way home.
a couple
Like,
pork
what?
fryer
The
moves.
kids hungry?
No pork fryer moose. Let's get a better
I mean, we
comparison.
could
for him.
splurge and get a large Pitts.
I mean, Freiermuth is like that big ass big gulp you get, like or what's
Big
the
gulps, huh?
what's the frozen one?
Slushy.
Oh,
Slushy,
slushy.
slurpee.
Slurpees.
All right, you get that right.
Yeah.
You're like, dang, check out my frozen Freiermuth. bro.
Yeah.
And then you
Oh,
get out in the car and
got
you
a
get on
blue
the
raspberry
phone.
Freiermuth.
No
Whatever
squeezing the
happens
juice.
to your Slurpee, no matter how it gets there, it melts, right? So that's what's going to happen to you with Freiermuth this year. You're going to look at him and say, that's a sexy Slurpee, and it's going to melt, and you're going to be pissed,
Yeah.
and that's what's going to happen. Stay away.
Freiermuth. Okay. Well, for the Falcons, a lot of stuff going on in
Start
Atlanta.
everybody!
They bring in Kirk Cousins. And
Kirko Chains.
right? All of a sudden, everybody loves Drake London. Kyle Pitts is finally going to be good in fantasy. And
Tyler Algiers about to go bell cow because they said they're going to use him a bunch. I'm like, no!
stop it. Bijan's going to be awesome.
He better have
They also
30
said
tugs.
the goal in the offense is give Bijan the ball as much as we possibly can.
30 tugs
Yeah.
a game for
So,
him, please.
Yeah. But for week 1, I mean, against the Steelers,
They're a good defense.
yeah.
There's no lie.
No, but
But when your offense is constantly punting from their own 20, I mean, how long can they be tough? Eventually, the water's going to break the dam, and you're going to have this Falcons offense running with these playmakers I mean, what are you going to do, dude? Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, and Drake London are big, fast, and strong.
So I guess here's where the discrepancy is for me with that, because we have seen Kirk Cousins when he was in Minnesota end up, not just top 10, but like top 5.
Number
fantasy
one for a
QBs,
while.
right? So now he goes to Atlanta, and him showing up there has elevated the rankings of the pass catchers, right? Now all of a sudden Drake London is being drafted as a lot of people's wide receiver 1. They go running back, Drake London. And then Kyle Pitts now is like, now we're going to get Kyle
he's
Pitts.
good.
All this stuff is great, and I'm looking at the rankings for week 1. at home, Kirk Cousins is the number 21 ranked quarterback. And I'm like, well, how are all these guys going to get better when he gets there? Yet somehow I'm supposed to start Jonnu Smith over Kirk Cousins this week. That math doesn't make sense to me.
Well, also, I'll just say this. I don't listen to everybody else's rankings.
Ooh.
I do what I think.
Damn, he's
Trailblazer.
that guy.
Dude, I
That's
believe.
all I do.
But, I mean, just because a site has it ranked on here, be like, well, do you believe that Kirk Cousins is going to go out there and do it? Do they want to see that it's actually done because he got injured and how he, what happens first? Jonnu Smith, they kind of know, but Jonnu Smith is also in a whole new offense. So he has the same weapons, though.
All right.
I will switch my starting
about
lineup
this?
on game day based off a random tweet from some ass. I don't care. That's how bad I am. I love your conviction. I'm
like,
so
no,
easily
this is
swayed.
because no, but we've all done it where we've sat there. I've talked to you guys. I mean, it'll be like, all right, you're not involved in this. Who would you start here, there, da 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 da? And I've listened to other people. I've done it off of tweets or all this different stuff, and I've changed it. And it's been so wrong.
Yeah.
And we all know it. Where we're like, if I would have just listened to my gut that I knew, I would have won.
No,
but last second, I changed it. I did all my research and knew the lineup I wanted. And all of a sudden, one little thing, and I changed it all. So I don't. That's
why I started this show by saying we're not doing analytics around here. We're just trying to entertain you because nobody knows.
Yes. Who
That's
would you
real.
rather blame? Sit around and blame your damn self all day or some other jerk?
It's way easier to blame
I like
somebody
blaming that.
else.
See, I shouldn't have followed that damn tweet.
Yeah. Thanks
Guy
a lot,
doesn't know
Barry.
anything, man.
So this week, then, before we move on to the next game, which we need to, Kirk Cousins in your starting lineup?
I think it's a little bit of Achilles tendon situation and age, and haven't seen it yet.
Kirk
But,
Cousins or Dak Prescott, who's
Kirk-
at Cleveland.
Yeah, no, I'd go Dak Prescott.
I'd go Kirk Cousins.
Cleveland is nasty on defense.
Nasty.
Man.
And CeeDee's, I mean, obviously CeeDee, but he's just getting back. He'll still probably
Yep.
catch like 13
I
passes.
think
but-
Deshaun Watson puts it in the wrong hands a couple times and gives you advantageous situation to throw in some tutties.
Probably.
And Dak showed me in the past year that he's got some health to him, and Kirko hasn't,
All right.
and he's older.
Panthers, Bryce Young in his second season on the road to take on the Saints. Saints are a 4-point favorite.
Don't put anyone on the Panthers in your lineup. There you
Nobody at all?
go. No.
Okay.
Name me one that you could start.
Deontay Johnson.
Deontay
No,
Johnson
you could
in a
flex
flex.
him, and you're not going to
In a
feel good. You're
flex.
going to lose week one.
You're going to, 12-team league flex. How's that?
Okay.
Yeah.
I can respect
Yeah.
that.
'Cause
If everyone's already going to say
pretty-
your team's already
pretty
shit
sure I
anyways,
gotta do
you're
that.
going to lose. Yeah, go
But
ahead
in
and put
12-team,
Deontay-
I'm in one 12-team league, which I don't like.
Someone's got to finish 12th. Sounds like the guy with Deontay Johnson.
Stop it. By the time you get around to filling in that flex spot, dude, it is not real tasty in a 12-team league. It's not,
You just got to.
Do you?
You just got to.
You just got to what?
Get it
you gotta,
together.
you got to have guys be there
Get
who
all
already
your
got drafted.
fantasy stuff and get it together.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you get
In
there.
a one pile,
You're
get
staring-
it together.
You're staring at Deontay Johnson just eye to eye.
He's
like,
not going to have a bad year. But again, the last time I saw him catch 100 balls, he caught 0 touchdowns.
Right.
So-
True.
Yeah.
True.
As far as the Saints go,
And that was on a team that was good. Now he's on Carolina.
for the Saints,
They have a lot of flash, and I don't think they can put it together this year. I love Kamara.
yeah.
I think the wheels fall off this year, and I just bought him in a league. So
Yeah.
that tells you how honest I'm freaking being. I don't know why I got him. Olave is awesome. I just think Derek Carr's going to have a tough time getting him the ball. Same with Rashid Shaheed, who's going to be good too.
So reports out of camper that Carr and Olave have been putting in a lot of extra time together,
they
getting
need
on the
to.
same page because it was so frustrating watching last year having Olave and just being like,
So talented.
I remember listening to you, like, just throwing the ball.
just
He's wide open.
throwing the
He's wide
ball,
open. Throwing the
dude.
ball.
I don't know
the
why
ball.
Derek Carr is so terrible because there's games where I've watched him. I'm like, this dude is awesome.
Yeah.
But I just can't trust him.
No.
so, but
And you don't get better with age.
it's
so
Olave and Kamara week one and nobody else.
I don't think
right?
so. No, you maybe hold Shaheed to see if he breaks
Yeah.
out, if you will.
Yeah, you hold him. Yeah. He
but
could be.
You don't trust him. And
He's a good best ball player.
Yep, there you go. Not week one. Week one, those two. Nobody else. A lot of the first few weeks in fantasy.
ball. You mean no courage league?
Yeah, I
Yes.
hate those.
Yes.
A lot of the first few weeks in fantasy are let's see what I have.
You have
right?
to.
You
Yes.
know what I mean?
All you have
So,
is last year.
the Vikings on the road against the New York Giants. The Vikings are a 2-point favorite on the road.
Who you want to start with?
I mean, okay,
Vikings?
we don't need to spend time on Justin Jefferson. You're starting him even though he doesn't necessarily have a quarterback.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't need one.
There you go.
One.
Agreed.
They're going to I mean, even if he has a terrible quarterback and he has a terrible game, he'll still probably get you 8 for 75.
Right.
Did it last year. He averaged 26 points for the last
there
4
you go.
games with like no quarterback.
Who else on Minnesota?
TJ Hawkinson is sitting, so
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about starting him. I don't trust the kid they got coming in. So really, Aaron Jones is your flyer flex play. Mm-hmm. And Jordan Addison, I'm almost moving him back to the wait and see again program.
Yeah. Agreed.
He'd be on the 12-team flex.
12-team
Like,
flex, I'll give you that.
You know,
yeah.
which means like, I guess so. I guess I'll put him in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
there's-
don't
I
feel
don't know.
good about him, but yeah.
I mean, you're getting
we are
like-
in agreement.
Yeah. He's back to the wait and see program after his offseason.
For the New York Football Giants.
It's neighbors, and then it's not anybody.
Way down flex, Devin Singletary.
Like way down.
Yeah.
Oh,
12
teams.
12
Right.
teams,
2
deep
RBs.
flex. Can we,
Yeah,
can we
two
just say
running
that
backs.
like a deep flex? Like,
Yeah.
That's just a deep flex.
No, yeah, okay, cool. Let's move on. We're
Yeah.
good, right? Broncos. This is the first afternoon game on the list. The Broncos at the Seahawks. Seahawks are a 6-point favorite at home.
All right, for the Seahawks.
Yeah, okay. Let's start there.
DK Metcalf.
Of course, he's a plug and play. Every week, DK's in your lineup.
Kenneth Walker.
Yep, same. It comes down to like Tyler Lockett.
Tyler
you're
Lockett.
looking at like,
Tyler
do I put him in it
Lockett's
as a flex?
JSN.
You're
kinda
holding
wanna
on to him
see.
for a flex this year. I wouldn't start him, but you want Tyler Lockett in case of emergency. He might come in handy for a week or two.
Who scores more points this season, Tyler Lockett or JSN?
JSN, and it's not even close. I
Okay.
think this is the year he finally starts blowing the doors off Tyler Lockett.
I agree with you.
I hope
agree
so,
with you.
too.
Yeah.
If not now, it's never.
It's not going to happen.
And I put in a lot on JSN doing that, so hopefully that happens.
For the Broncos,
We're waiting to see on Bo Nix. Could be a special talent for like a super flex this year.
Mm-hmm.
So you wait on him. The running back situation gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, I was just
they
gonna
say they love Javante, and I'm like, please do.
I only love out of that backfield Jaleel McLaughlin.
All right.
I love him.
Don't love any of them. Say next game is where. I
Okay,
go.
fair enough. Yeah,
Cortland Sutton, flex consideration, I guess.
Yes, but
I
we
like
gotta see with
Javante
Bo
over
Nix.
Cortland.
If you
in
need us to
flex.
validate your crap decision of Cortland Sutton going in, then
Yeah.
well,
Ugh. All right. Raiders
Ugh.
at the Chargers. Chargers are a 3-point favorite at home. Raiders, I mean, Devontae,
Devontae Adams.
Zamir White,
yeah, that's it.
right?
I
That's
can't
it.
think of anyone else.
Well,
I mean,
well,
Brock Bowers eventually.
Brock Bowers, there you go.
But again,
That's a lot of people are going to want to put him in this week.
do it. But the only reason I'm not considering it is because he's a little dinged up and a rookie. So
He's a
and
rookie tight end.
So
My mind's going blank. The other wide receiver for the Raiders,
I
There's a
like
reason.
Tucker and I like Jacoby Myers,
Myers.
Yeah.
Myers was
but
decent,
not out of the gate.
But not out of the gate.
I want to see how this
Adams,
offense flows with what's his mullet.
Minshew.
Yeah,
Minshew.
Gardner
Minshew.
Minshew.
Minshew's going to throw it to Devontae Adams as one.
his
He's going to
mullet?
throw it to him like what he did Pitt.
Oh,
I
lose
like
his
last
hair.
year.
I like Devontae Adams a lot,
Yes.
man. I think
Yes.
Minshew's going to lock in, and
He's a-
Adams
he's a
is going to
tar-
have a
he's a
big,
target
big
monster.
season. Yeah. The Chargers. This is a totally different look this year.
I mean, just
man.
completely. And we
Herbert
don't
used
know.
to be a top 7 must play. Now he's like wait and see, maybe QB 11, 12.
Yeah, he's a backup QB.
Weapons he doesn't have. Running game. What is what they want to do, and they just brought in the old Ravens guys.
I
and
don't
they're
trust the
let's see what
running
happens.
game.
So I don't know. Like I'm not starting anybody on there.
0 people from the
Zero
Chargers week 1. We need to see how that pans out. I agree. Like somebody is going to produce on that
I
offense.
think
Points are gonna
eventually
happen.
Quentin Johnston and Lad McConkey are gonna
Agreed.
come along. I think people have already taken Quentin Johnston and sent him packing.
Yeah, not
Yep.
me. I'm holding on
How
to him.
Nope.
the hell
I
dare
didn't-
you?
I didn't have him, but if I had him, I would have sent him packing.
All
Yeah.
6
He's
foot
looked
4, 22 years
He's
old.
looked
Stop.
horrible.
Yeah.
He has looked absolutely terrible.
But he's just a baby.
Yeah.
He'll be fine.
Yeah.
A flyer on Gus Edwards, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Just because Harbaugh likes to run the route.
and you know where I like Gus Edwards? Daily. He's got to be cheap.
There you go. That's a good.
He's
there you
got
go.
to be a cheap play.
Yeah, next episode we'll try to focus more on some
we'll
some daily advice because that's
sprinkle it
pretty
in there.
good. Because Gus is a good, that's a good daily pick.
Sprinkle it in there like sprinkles on a
Or
gas station
or the
donut.
daily people like to say he's a good tournament play because not a lot
Okay.
of people are going to be using him. So it's a good tournament play daily.
Dallas Cowboys at the Cleveland Browns. Browns are a 2.5-point favorite at home. CeeDee Lamb's on the field. That's good news for Cowboys fans and for fantasy players alike. Their backfield, they brought in Zeke, and the nostalgia is just fantastic. I love it. However, Zeke's not Zeke anymore. Let's get over it. I think Rico Dowdle's the guy to have in that backfield going forward, but I'm not starting any of them this week.
2018 called and said they were super scared of the Cowboys backfield.
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook.
And Zeke.
Stop it. Right.
2018 just called. They said stop.
And Rico Dowd is... I
Has
don't
one
trust
of
him
the
either.
worst last names.
He hasn't done anything. Either he's 26 years old, hasn't done...
He's a young 26, though.
Oh, yeah.
He's a young 26.
To us, because
Just how I like my journeyman, over the age of 25 and no guaranteed role to the number one role.
yeah, so that's one where I'm not starting anybody there.
So we're starting CD and we're starting Jake Ferguson.
Jake Ferguson. Yep.
Jake. I like Jake the Snake
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah.
25, underrated. And I think coming out of college, he's one of the best tight ends rated since Brock Bowers. So
There you go.
like, you know what I mean? Like
When
they,
he was in
under the
college.
radar rating, like everyone's like, dude, this guy's metrics and blah blah are just doesn't have an eye-catching personality or name. His name's Jake Ferguson.
Right.
It's Turd Ferguson.
Yeah, you gotta
It's a
go
funny
Turd.
name.
Target
funny
monster, though. I mean, it's thrown to CD and then it's thrown to Jake Ferguson.
There it is.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it's not going to get spread out much more than that. We don't think.
Didn't last year.
Mike Concho.
Yeah, but I don't want to. But I'm not starting. I'm not starting anybody else, and I'm not starting Dak. If I have him, I'm finding somebody else. Even though he finished last season
Like the top
on fire.
Yes,
Yeah.
top one. So you definitely want him, but I kind of want to see what happened. Kind of just want to see.
But that Browns defense is terrifying, man. People
Yes.
seem to forget. But
Miles
as far as
Garrett will actually kill a man
he'll
with
hit
his
you
bare
with a
hands.
helmet.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
he'll hit
is-
you right in the bare head with a helmet. I've seen it.
Yep.
As far as the
bare
Browns
head.
go, he did.
I know it was.
He
It's just funny
just-
how you said the
oh.
bare head.
Oh, what's that guy's name?
Helmet free,
Oh,
if you
backup
will.
Rudolph.
Oh, Mason Rudolph, the
Mason
red-nosed
Rudolph.
reindeer,
Yeah,
yeah.
just right in the
Gave
head.
him a shiny nose,
Just
didn't he?
nah.
Mollywopped.
The only guy to take his skate off and try to stab a guy with it.
Browns scare me,
Browns.
man. But here you go. Here's a perfect example of tons of weapons and everyone's still scared. Like Cooper.
Yeah,
Jerry
Amari
Jeudy.
Cooper.
Njoku.
Njoku, I really like. He's a guy who was going underdrafted.
He's 28. Is there's someone I'm thinking of right now who could be this year's Njoku, and we skipped over him, and it's Mike Gesicki over in
Gesicki.
Bangalstown.
Oh,
Yeah, he could easily be a post-hype sleeper.
old Gesicki.
I mean, if you want to talk about a post-hype sleeper, David Njoku, I spent 6 years loving that man, and then I
Fantasy-
traded him, and I had to go get him back.
Fantasy Pros has him at 30, just after Tucker Kraft.
Who?
Tucker Kraft, Mike Gesicki.
Oh, I thought you said Njoku. I was like, get out of
no,
town.
dude, no. Njoku, but still, even this, like,
And I'm not saying Gesicki for week one necessarily, as I am maybe season long. He may come on. I've heard good things. We haven't had a tight end in the Joe Burrow era.
yeah.
No.
Just blocking tight ends.
Njoku is number 9. They have him as a starting tight end, and that's
You're
100%.
starting Njoku.
Yeah, he should be in. He's
But
the guy.
boy, Deshaun Watson just sucks.
He's a-
It's questionable for Njoku. I mean, he has all the talent, but he did all that
Flacco.
with Flacco, and
Flacco.
Flacco is now a backup in Indianapolis.
so weird. What's he doing there? Should
So
have
it's-
stayed in Cleveland.
Just
Well,
resting
because they
backup
probably would have
face.
argued that they needed to play Flacco, even though he threw a ton of picks. But like, you just need to start him over Watson. So they literally couldn't bring him back.
No.
So I'm starting Cooper.
Okay. Starting Jerome Ford this week.
Maybe if you need a
This
running
week.
back.
I mean, why not?
You probably drafted someone way better than Ford.
Ford was not that great last year. He got sprung in there. He did, but
He had
it's
one
not like
good
he
run.
excelled. He looked like the perfect Jag, is what he was. That just happened to start. You know,
Man.
and he stayed healthy and he did it and he didn't fall on his face. But he wasn't some spectacular talent.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, right? I'm
And
with
Njoku,
you.
I mean, you're starting to Njoku, but temper your expectations possibly.
Yeah, I mean, he's a tight end, so you
I mean,
you
Watson,
only got so many choices.
We haven't seen Watson throw the ball since last year, and he didn't look good doing
yeah,
it last
he's
year.
trash.
So
I hope he breaks a leg this year. Literally
He
breaks
probably
a leg.
will.
Or 2 of them be fine.
probably
Yeah, it's
will.
one thing to be hot garbage as a human, but as a quarterback and a human, come on, bro.
Yeah.
and way
Tighten
overpaid.
it up.
The Browns doing Browns things.
Yep, stupid Browns.
Always Brown.
Commanders at the Bucks. Bucks are a 3.5-point favorite at home. The Commanders, they bring in Austin Eckler.
They bring in an
Interesting.
absolute electric college quarterback.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So that automatically opens up things that normally wouldn't be open.
They get rid of Jahan Dotson.
Unexplainably.
Interesting.
Thought they were going
like
to try to
helping your
get. Thought they were going to get Ayuk then right after that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, so you are? That's what you're doing it for? Nope. They're like, we're just
nothing helps,
trading them for
we
a
just hate
third
Jahan.
round pick.
Nothing like a reliable slot receiver when you got a rookie quarterback. You got to ship him out quick as possible.
Oh, it was definitely surprised.
But
Commanders have always been a
this
question.
week, this game, I mean, I don't want to start a rookie QB week 1.
No.
But I like Terry McLaurin. I like his number 1 target. I'd have him in.
I'm in one
as
league.
a
I am starting
wide
Scary
receiver
Terry.
2 or a flex. I'd have him in just fine.
Because I would start Scary Terry if they had, what's that Ramsey that used to play for the Skins, man? I used to always use him. He played for Tulane. Wow. You could literally throw any quarterback in there, and I'm probably going to start Terry McLaurin because he's proven that he can have big games with absolute wrecks at quarterback.
Yep. Yes. Yeah. No, and he's fine. He's like super reliable.
So
somehow.
you give him Jaden Daniels. Now you're going to see what Terry can do.
There you
You're
go.
going to see why they call him Scary.
Agreed. I would start Brian Robinson.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, flex start. Yeah, I'm not going to be excited putting him in the RB slot.
No.
I mean, I don't think they brought in Austin Eckler to be a workhouse.
No.
But I do think Brian Robinson's going to carry the majority.
He'll be running, but Eckler's in there. I
Yeah.
mean, if Eckler can show glimpses of what he did before,
He'll outscore him.
then he'll outscore Brian. But you got to see it. We don't.
Eckler signed specifically with the Commanders because of workload issues he had when he talked to Harbaugh. They wanted to work him.
Yeah.
And he's like,
whoa.
He's like, no. I like my role. How the number of carries I get is the number of carries that I function best at. Just like Pollard.
I think it was kind of that they didn't want him back because he was done, and they were like, we want somebody who will carry it 300 times. That's not Eckler's game.
Nope.
But that's what Harbaugh wanted, so that's what he brought
Yes,
in.
he's like, I don't need
a
guy.
I don't
Nope.
need a scat back.
So Eckler is definitely
need somebody who just carries
interesting. He's the most interesting piece on this team because does he have anything left in the tank? We'll find out.
There's
soon.
something in there, but I'm not starting him this week
No.
by any means.
No. He's a
But
wait and
Brian
see.
Robinson can definitely run the ball enough that Eckler can do that role
Sure.
beautifully.
It waits to be seen if that offense can move the ball down the field to even feed you a running back. We'll find out.
But the Bucks,
They're a weird team, man.
yeah.
They're not very sexy, but if
Mike
you start
Evans,
digging
yeah.
deep, they are sexy.
Yeah. Mike Evans, yeah. Rashad White, yeah. Chris Godwin.
Yeah, I got him starting in one.
Yeah,
he's supposed to play the Cooper Cup role.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay is a nice place.
Chris Godwin.
Yeah. Boom.
All right. Baker, super flex.
Yeah.
yeah,
Get it.
definitely.
Get you some super flex. Now you're getting it. There you go. It feels good. Yeah, let's
Get him in there. You want two QB?
You got one. You got two.
Well, Baker. Yeah, get him in there. All right. Rams at the Lions. Lions are a 3.5-point favorite at home. That makes sense. They're really good.
I think you start Matt Stafford this week for revenge purposes alone, let alone skill, but just revenge.
Oh, I love revenge.
I'm starting him for revenge this week.
All right. Stafford revenge.
What about Goff with his revenge?
Oh,
I think Goff has more revenge.
Two-sided revenge. I'm not saying
than Stafford.
Who
That's
gets
fine.
their revenge?
You take Goff, I'll take Stafford.
Will it be
See ya.
Stafford or Goff or Montezuma?
You never
Wow.
know.
Somebody's
Tune
getting
in.
revenge.
Somebody is.
When Montezuma strikes, he strikes both teams. He does not.
All right. So for the Rams, I mean, all signs indicate that Puka is going to be on the field week 1. If that's
You're
the case,
going
you start
Cup,
him.
you're going Puka, you're going Kyron Williams.
Yes,
and
yes,
you're going
yes.
Matt Stafford.
Yes.
And then anyone else is just use your better judgment.
Yep. Agreed. For the Lions,
Same thing.
Yep.
You're going through your Amon St. Browns. You're going through Jamison Williams is a flex. You definitely want to wait and see, but he sounds spicy this year.
I think that he could. He's a perfect daily play, I think, if you can throw him in right
him
now
cheap.
because he could be cheap and
Yeah.
he could just
He could
score
blow
some.
it up.
They're gonna show it. He doesn't need a lot of touches.
Both Lions running backs you can start. I think they've shown that David Montgomery is the bell cow, but that does not discourage Gibbs from going off.
and they're going to use Gibbs more this year.
weird ways.
Yeah, and
Yes.
you've got to get that guy the ball. He is electric.
Yes, and you can't just feed him up you need a traditional running back to pair with him or you're going to wear him out.
Yep.
It's just the way it goes.
Heads up, watch out for St. Brown to potentially be the number 1 fantasy wide receiver this season.
I would not be surprised if he finished fantasy number 1.
Nope, neither would I.
And I'm gonna say that he won't be.
Okay. So you'll take the field.
You'll take
Way
the
to go
field
out on a
over
limb.
there.
But because I think that other weapons are going to step up more is what I was going to say.
You said, I'm going to say no. How about
I'm
that?
going to take all 700 other receivers in the league.
You guys didn't let me finish. I was just going to say no because
You got some Brazilian nuts on you, pal.
dude. Absolutely, I do. Absolutely, I do. And don't forget, Sam Laporta Potty is going to be stepping up.
Yeah.
And I think he could catch more passes. I think Jameson Williams can catch some more passes.
dare you.
And that's kind of how I think. And Gibbs, I think, will be more involved.
Do they call that when you go over to France? Is it the La Porta Pate? Yes.
I've got to take a wee-wee.
Yes. S'il vous plaît.
All right. Last game. Monday Night Football. Oh, I'm ready for this one. The New York Jets and Aaron Rodgers in his Achilles and his hallucinogenics go on the road to take on my San Francisco 49ers, my beloved San Francisco 49ers.
Just
my,
this week,
my sweet baby boy Brock Purdy.
They got Ayuk signed. They got Trent Williams signed.
Yeah, buddy.
McCaffrey, calf healed.
Awesome.
Debo, feeling good. Jets probably should leave Rodgers at home so he
And
doesn't get Bosa.
completion.
Dude.
Just happened.
Receive it.
Oh, my
He's
God.
about to. I tell you what, if Aaron Rodgers makes it out of this game alive, it's a W for the Jets, regardless of the score.
Okay.
They just need him to fly back on the plane in one piece without his Achilles going wah, 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 wah.
Well, I love, obviously, the 49ers, and I can't wait for this game. But from a fantasy standpoint, for the Jets, it's Breece Hall. It's
Garrett Wilson. And I don't trust anyone else.
Are you saying Aaron Rodgers? Are you doing
No,
okay.
I'm just like,
there's
that's
nobody
it.
else.
That's it.
A good wait and see
Right.
is wait and see if Aaron Rodgers survives, and if he does, Mike Williams could become a nice flex factor in the
Agreed.
second half of the season as his knee gets more acclimated to full speed football.
Agreed. And Aaron Rodgers could become your starting fantasy QB by the end of the season.
It could go down like that,
Yeah.
man. It really could.
But not this week.
Not this week.
Not this week. Also, a bit of a revenge game because he's from the area and was very angry that the 49ers didn't draft him.
Yep. He was
29 years
Alex
ago when
Smith.
he
Well.
entered the league.
29 years ago.
I feel like
what
the
an unfair
49ers
assessment of his age.
49ers are going to get revenge on him for being mad.
Dude.
Like, oh, you're mad about that,
you're
huh?
mad about this?
Well, we're
All
going to
right.
get some revenge on you.
You're starting all your 49ers
Yep.
that you want to start, and you in an offensive lineman league, you're for sure starting Trent Williams. He is going to maul people.
Yeah, no, I mean,
what a scary
Yeah,
game.
you're starting all of them. Ayuk, Debo, Kittle.
You need a Trent Williams jersey. I don't know normally
Fair
condone
enough.
kicker or offensive
I would
line
wear one
jerseys.
that's his size. I'd wear it around like a dress.
Yes. That's my dad's jersey.
Who you starting? Brock Purdy, Jordan Love, or Tua?
I'm going to go in this order. Tua, Love, Purdy. It's just because I respect what that Jets defense is.
That Jets defense is good, man. No doubt about it. And the thing about Brock Purdy, and he does put up perfectly fine fantasy numbers, but the 49ers do not throw the ball a ton. They run, and that's their offense, and they set up like precision passes to, it's all very methodical, but they're not just going to come out and have Brock Purdy throw the ball 45 times and beat you. So, I love him. He's my sweet baby boy. I'm so glad we have him.
He can run games in fantasy, but he can also have a week where it's 220 yards passing and a touchdown, and they win.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's
that
not
happens.
a winning formula
Right.
for your fantasy team.
Yeah. Yep. So, but I would have no problem starting him, but there are definitely guys that I would rather start.
He may finish a top 15 quarterback this year, but he's not going to finish a top 15 quarterback this week, probably.
I agree. Fellas, is there anything else you want to touch on? Hopefully not. We're an hour and a half in. We need to
we're
wrap
good.
this
We'll
up.
try
Yeah, but we can't talk about it on the air.
Okay. All right. There's some things you like touching on.
I mean, maybe next week
right.
we'll write out the games and we'll all look at them and put like a little clock out here and try to do like a little 3 to 5 minute
time.
This
Well,
is our first feeler.
it's before week one. It was we did the first 15 minutes just introducing ourselves,
Yes.
basically. So it's fine, guys. It's fine.
If you made it this far in the podcast, kudos.
yeah,
It's
of
pretty
course
awesome.
you did. Yeah.
Of course you did.
Why wouldn't you? This is a great podcast.
Thanks,
Pretty
Mom.
much killed it. Yeah. All right, fellas. We're gonna get out of here. I'm gonna go pick up a couple of tight ends from the gas station, and go home and have some dinner. Actually, I got to go show a house. I got to get going.
Yeah, go do real life stuff, and I'm going to worry about fantasy
So
life.
what's the name of this podcast again? It's Fantasy Football for Real. That's the name of this podcast.
Real.
Yep. For Big Dan Bott and Eric Krantz, I'm Eric Pettigo. This has been a Just a Bit production. See you next week.